So here I am. Assalamu alaikum. And before I start saying anything, I want to play another song. I have some select songs I be wanting to share with the public. Songs that I grew up with in the late 60s, early 70s, and 80s, of course, until now. And I think they're inspirational songs, so that's why I share. So one time we played um Gil Scott Heron, It's Winter in America. It's a beautiful song. You ought to go listen to it. Gil Scott Heron, has left us now, but he was a very deep brother, and he had a lot of passion to, for our rise and our struggle, and of course this evil society and this evil world um destroyed that man with drugs, and now he's gone. So then I played War. War was one of the biggest name groups back in the 60s and 70s. A mixed group at that, but they play songs that has something to do with upliftment and people knowing truth and righteousness. So I navigated toward those that group back when I was young in my teenage years, rather than to listen to all that stuff that was coming on the radio, It's Your Thing by like the Isley Brothers. And I love the Isley Brothers. The Isley Brothers is from Ohio. But you could tell when the industry started changing and they started producing music that wasn't good for the soul, wasn't good for your family, it wasn't good for the people, it wasn't good as far as any type of, what would you say, positive guidance for any of us. I remember the first time Isley Brothers made that song, It's Your Thing, Do What You Want to Do. And I mean, it's not like I really cared a lot about the song, but I was listening to it either on the radio, or maybe I had sung a line or two. But I remember, it was either I was singing it, humming it, or something, and my mother caught it, and she caught the words of it, and she said, "What are you saying?" And I said, "Oh, Mom, this is a new song by the Ice Brothers saying it's your thing." She's talking about, "What? What is your thing? What are you talking about? What do you know about that? Why are you even singing stuff like that?" And it was not allowed to be played in my home after that. So, I'm just saying that a lot of things that we adhered to, especially after 1975 when Mr. Muhammad died, or when Mr. Muhammad left from amongst us, um, things just started going downhill. And by 1980s, it was full blown destruction on us, the Black community. Though we were thinking it was going to be something else. So, so many lies, so much destruction out here amongst ourselves. And understand something. When you come here, sister, when you come to see or hear or listen to Sister Muhammad, you're not coming to hear anything about the white man per se. I don't have time to keep on talking about what they have done to us. You should know that by now. I'm talking to us, the liars, the cheaters, the scammers, the swindlers among us who are working venomously too, to keep us down. How could you think that just a little bit of something off the table can make you content, and you would help our enemy destroy us all, including yourself? See, that's the mentality of a lot of these people. The YouTube streets are hot. And I mean hot as hell. The YouTube streets are but a bunch of destruction right now. You got some YouTubers that's got over 100,000 subscribers, but what are they delivering to our people? And you got some that have a lot less, and still, what are they delivering to our people? I just don't see why everybody don't see the math and the science behind our whole existence. Because if you don't have hope, if you don't believe that by design and a divine design, things have happened and it will get better for us, then that means you believe the other, and that is that we are nothing but some lost slave, no good for nothing people don't nobody care nothing about, and all we gonna do is just live and die. And if you believe the latter, you are truly hopeless and helpless and lost. So, you know, the YouTube streets is horrible right now. It's so hot, it's so evil, so much murdering and attempted murder going on in the YouTube streets today, in the black community, in the black YouTube streets. That's what I'm talking about. So much hurt and pain, so much sexual deviance going on amongst the black YouTubers on these YouTube streets. And like first of all, like Gil Scott Heron said, it's winter in America and nobody knows what to do or what to say. And just like Messenger Muhammad said, he said that when all else has failed, then that's when Islam come in. That's where this nation of Islam that he represented, that he was in charge of, which he was given charge and mission to guide the people in the nation as well as all black people. That's what he said. So it's winter in America and nobody knows what to say, nothing but a ball of confusion, like Mr. Muhammad said it would be. He told us before he left from amongst us that we was going to see a lot of confusion in the end. And now look around, confusion everywhere. And especially amongst us, even amongst those who say they believe in God. But the ungodly are going straight crazy, coming up with all kind of theories and theological ideologies. It's so sad to see too. You know, coming from where I come from, it's sad to see. But alhamdulillah, I thank Allah, Master Muhammad, for his coming. And I thank him that he blessed and put his arms around me and mine to keep us out of this craziness. And even when I want to be on my other brothers and sisters pages and whatnot, you know, I find it so difficult to do because it's nothing but a lot of confusion, a lot of hurt and pain even being exemplified on those channels. You know, I go on one brother channel because for me, I think Judah Nazareth. I do. I think Judah, it's my opinion, is sincere and he really loves his God. He really loves God. He don't know who really God is, but this is my opinion. But I believe he really, I'm from what I see, and I'm only gonna speak of him to this point, that he really cares about himself, his people, and wanting us to see his people saved and whatnot. But he still allows himself to get caught up in a debauchery because real men and women of God do not act like this. And I have to scold myself and reprimand myself when I get on these pages and I try to be a good sister and try to dialogue with brothers and sisters whom I don't know, never known, and still probably will never know in the future. But we dialogue on these panels, and you want to become, you want to get along, and you want things to be done in a proper manner. However, some of these personalities just want to lie. So getting back to what I was saying, because I haven't even started my program yet, Bob Marley also said, you know, we go for everything they tell us every time they can reach us, And the main reason why is because we got a lot of bunch of Thomasinnas and uncle sisters Thomasinnas and brother Thomas out here that keep selling us down the river for a few crumbs off the table. Only thing about it is, yesterday it might have looked like it was honorable to do so, and you might feel like you gain a nice home, a car, a little money, you could buy you some clothes and shoes and look good, and keep it pimping. But being an Uncle Thomasina and an Aunt Thomasina and being a backstabber to your community, it's not going to profit you. You might think that you're winning, but you are drastically going to lose. And everything that you stood for is going to turn to dust. So just want to go there. And again, before I get started with my dialogue, I just want to play another song that I believe is very befitting for this day and time. And it's called, which one do I want to play today? I think we want to do before the white man came. Okay. Because truly, there was a time before the white man came. And truly, there was a time when there were no so-called white people. So, y'all can believe it or not, but until any of you could come up with a explanation chronologically, making it make sense about what, when, where, and how we as the people on this planet wound up in the situation that we're in today, all over the planet. When I pray for my people across the lands, across the waters as well. How we wind up here and what's going to be the solution to us getting out of it, especially when we do not have anything to match our enemy's arsenal, then like the Bible says in Revelations, who can make war with the beast? So I want to play that song. It's sort of like a rap. In my opinion, Last Poet, that's what their names are, the Last Poet. They were some of the best rappers ever in any, in our history here during our sojourn here in America. The Last Poets, some of them I think are still alive. And but they are nothing like they used to be. They're nothing like they used to be. So here, let's take a listen while I prepare myself for what I want to speak about today. It's a shame, it's a shame, it's a shame, it's a shame. This is Last Poet, Before the White Man Came, and I do not have copyrights to this music. Thank you. It's a shame, it's a shame, it's a shame, it's a shame. It's a shame. Happy the days from once we roamed, the land completely free. Good was the times when village heads dictated policy. Great was the hunting in those days. Abundant was the game. Peaceful relations we all had before the white man came. It's a shame. 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 Tall was the stalks of corn we grew. Large the tobacco leaf. Healthy our bodies and our minds. Strong were our backs and teeth. Many a moonlit night was spent dancing around the flames. Never a hungry moment missed before the white man came. It's a shame. And killed our game. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's Clear were the streams that caused this place. Fishing was at its best. Silver and gold. But they know what is it? I'm live. So that's some of it. I want to play the rest. So I had a little moment of problems. So, and it's not a problem. This is my daughter's calling me from work and she hit in on my phone. Why don't y'all hear Medina call? And so she called in on my phone, so it broke up the song that I was playing. But this is impromptu. I mean, I'm not coming on here trying to be a professional YouTuber or anything. I'm on here because it's an instrument to be able to contact people and to get in, and to share with people. And that's all it's ever been for me. I'm not on here trying to make no money, none of that. I could care less, truly. I could care less, truly. So I'm gonna play the last, because it's not that long. I'm gonna play the last little few minutes. Okay, here we go back to it. This is Last Poet Before the White Man Came. Look it up. It's on YouTube. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame. Like I said, I don't have rights to this music. 400 years since that eventful day. But if we had known what they had in mind, they all would have died in the face. So now we're paying for our mistakes, with only ourselves to blame, with memories of the good old years before the white man came. It's a shame. That kills our game. It's a shame. 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 It kills our game. All right. I'm gonna pay it again before before I log off. But for right now, I just want to, get into my content. Anyway, while I'm sitting up here, I got my bean soup. Yes, my bean soup. The messenger taught us, and it was just not the messenger. So you don't understand. He had a lot of helpers. Messenger Muhammad taught and was an example of a dietary regiment that he shared with the whole world. That's why we have How to Eat to Live, book 1 and 2. A lot of people then got the wrong messages from that, lying on the messenger, talking about what the messenger eat, don't eat. None of you know, and it's not because you couldn't know, but you had to be in the house. And being in the house, then you understood what was going on, not only for the messenger, but for every member that was included, that was a part of the register. And so bean soup was not given to us as something that had no value. The Navy has a lot of medicinal properties to it that are good for your body, and therefore we were told to eat it as much as possible. Now, surely it was economical. Surely it was easy to fix. Didn't take a lot of time to prepare a meal for your family. Put on some beans, let them soak, and then put them in a crock pot on a pot and let them boil until they get soft. Season them to taste. Amen. But anyway, it was not only that was economical, it was the medicinal properties in the Navy bean that's good for you and good for your body. Okay, tastes good, good for you, but good for your body too. Nourishes that body, gives it minerals and vitamins and nutrition that is helpful. And eating them for a time, uh, the possibilities are just immeasurable. And plus they're good. It's good for you, and they're good. And fish. I'm eating some fish. It's called golden fish. And of course, some vegetables: cauliflower, carrots, olives, ginger, the works. A lot of people talk about, and this is one property it gives you. A lot of people want to talk about this picture. First of all, that's not gray hair. That's my hair. And it looks like that because of the way I was positioned. And when my daughter took the picture, it was in the sun, and the sun was glaring down on my black hair. So that picture was not taken nothing but a year ago. It's not that old. 2 years at that. The end of 2021. And I have other pictures, more recent pictures, and I'm going to change my avatar. But I think it's so petty for us to share our avatars with each other and then sit up and talk about each other like a dog. It just don't make sense to me. People want to talk about people's avatar, talk about what they're doing on Facebook and what they're doing on YouTube, all negatively, when we are all on here striving to share who we are, to share what we know, and all of us to try to figure out some of the pieces to this puzzle. Because if you think you know it all, let me inform you, you're wrong. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely wrong. So, um, so what I want to talk about is, as it says on the video, I guess whenever you see it, or if who's ever watching, you know, Messenger Muhammad and his mission. And today, before I came on, I did do a little description of why I'm here. And I'm not going to name it part 1, 2, and 3. Um, I'm just going to be sharing what it was to be a member in the Nation of Islam. And as I was alluding to earlier, that's what I was trying to say. It wasn't that you could not know the messenger if you were in the house. And it was not that you could never get close to him. He did not walk around acting like he was a prima donna and he was too good to talk to his people. That never was like that. It's just that if you were blessed to be a part of families that were working directly with the messenger, then you were just a blessed person. And so be it. I just have to say, for me and my family, that was the position. And so therefore, I was best to get around, to be around, get to know, and be closer up to the messenger. There may be a lot of sisters my age and that was in the nation, or people that came after. But it's the time. It just was the time. So it wasn't hard to get to know Mr. Muhammad. He wasn't like a lot of leaders going around with a lot of security, and or some of these stars that y'all in love with, and basketball players and football players, all these celeb, and he was untouchable. No, it had nothing to do with that. But we had to be concerned about his safety because we knew the government was trying to kill him. Matter of fact, the government was trying to kill all of us, for real. So anyway, so as I was sharing, I'm going to be doing several series of videos where we're going to be talking about Mr. Muhammad and 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 what he meant not only to me, but to millions still in America, though we are not out here, uh, really in the public and whatnot, but we are here. And we are striving to still be about our business with our messenger and be about what he taught us to be about. And most of all, striving to see the hereafter. Most of all, striving to get back to being righteous, because that's what we are, the righteous. Even that's our title, regardless if we're doing right or not. But we are the righteous because of who we are as a people. But a lot of us are not trying to do right. But that's the goal. That was the aim, and that was the purpose. As I've said before on other panels, when I am allowed to share, only the pure in heart shall see God, and only the meek and humble shall inherit the earth. Now, I don't know what that means to you. I don't know how that resonates to you, but that is the truth. And you can get it out the Torah, the Quran, or the Bible, and any other book of inspiration. It is clear that the only way to have pure happiness, pure joy in life, is that you deal with truth and righteousness, being transparent and always thinking about positive thoughts. And even when, as we say in the Quran, Surah 103, by the time surely man is in lost, except for those who believe and lead one another to truth and lead one another to patience and consistency. See, we all start off on this journey for God, to God, and seeking God, very zealous. But because of the things in the time that we live in that happens, then we fall short because of the tribulations of life, the trials in life, the afflictions in life. And those things kind of cut us close and break us down, and then we falter and we make mistakes. But see, this is a great thing about it. Allah forgives for those mistakes. He knows we are going to make mistakes in this journey. So when you make a mistake, acknowledge it, be transparent. And if you are at fault, say you are at fault and ask for forgiveness, and forgiveness will be granted. And then you're back on your journey, full-fledged again, with no guilt, no shame, no blame, no pointing of fingers. It's no need for that, because as people say all the time, there is none out here that's perfect. None. Nobody on this planet can point their finger at nobody. And I am not talking about Caucasians. I am not talking about white folks. I'm talking about us, the original man, the aboriginals of this planet, the indigenous ones of wherever we're at, the righteous. I'm talking to us. I'm talking to us. Everywhere we are. Everywhere we are. So, this is the time of the devil stopping his work and for us to start getting ready doing our work. Now, I don't mean that as though we should just now be trying to live right, think right, do right. No. I'm saying that if you can find your way on the right path and strive and start working therein with the help of God and his helpers and the elders and the army that's with him, you will be forgiven and you can start walking therein on the path of righteousness. All is not lost because you have made a mistake. We all have made mistakes. We have all did wrong. Surely all of us have failed. And surely I look back sometime, I'll be like, whew, we have failed. We have failed. Look how far we have failed. From the 11th century, the 10th century, the 9th century, all those centuries before devastation came on the planet about 6,000 years ago. Um, uh, since 11,000 years ago, ever since the century that devastation came on our planet and began to run rapid, what about how we lived then? I hear people talking about it, and they always talk about it like it was just the Kemet people or whatever they think Kemet means. They talk about it like they think it was just this one people. No. In the century before the devastation came on this planet and then started wiping out good and just started building up on evil, all of our people were living lavished and good and great. We had civilizations all over the planet that would just put you in a state of awe. So it's not like we were just concentrated in one place. We might have started off in one place in the cradle of civilization, but as the time went on, we spread it out, and then look, the reality, when you talk about the spreading out and the movement of a people, you're talking about your own people, because we don't know what the people in the island did back in 10,000 years ago. We don't know what the people in the Pacific Islands did. We don't know what the people did. We just know what our movement have been. But then when we really research and really understand what we're researching, then we realize that the Aboriginal people, the original people of the planet, were everywhere on the planet. And they still are today. Some of them have not been touched. And some of them don't even know nothing about all this so-called modernization. Let me say that right. Lord have mercy, some of these words. Modernization. They don't even know about the modern time. That's basically what you're saying. Yeah, they don't know anything about it. So, and you know what? If I envied anybody, those would be the people that I envied. Is the people who have yet been touched by the modern times and been influenced by the Western civilizations, the Europeans, NATO, and America. If I envy anyone, that would be who I envy, because they still live in natural according to the way they always have lived on their land and by their own norms and mores and traditions and culture. Now, so, okay, again, to recap, we started off, talked a little bit. I wanted to play the last poet's rap song that they made back in the 60s and 70s called Before the White Man Came. Again, I would suggest that you look it up. It's on YouTube. Listen to it, listen to the words, and then learn. Okay, listen and learn. Again, I urge you also to go back and reintroduce yourself to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Listen to Master Muhammad's videos yourself and get the meat, get the teachings for yourself, get the understanding for yourself. Stop listening to clowns. Okay. So, so what I want to say today about Mr. Muhammad is this. We already talked about, when he first met Master Muhammad and became a Muslim. We're doing a little recap that he was a Mason back when he was a young man, which would have been in the 1920s, because Messenger Muhammad was born in 1897. So a lot of people want to, they talk about the messenger like he was an old man all his life. They talk about the messenger like he was senile. They talk about Messenger Muhammad like he is so illiterate, or he was illiterate. But you don't know the man nor his mission. So with that, I'm gonna hit a little bit again. So Messenger Muhammad, when he was in his late 20s, and after he moved up here from Georgia with his, young family, his young wife and family, he dealt with being a Mason, because as any Black man in America at that time, you're going to do what you got to do to be able to feed your family, take care of your family in the best of manner. And there's nothing wrong with having knowledge and wisdom. And for surely that's what the Masonic temple offered the Black man at that time, as well as the women, the Eastern Stars as well. And it was a way of working with your own and trying to build and trying to excel. And I don't see nothing wrong with that. My dad, him, his sons, whoever. But the thing about it is that once you know better, you do better. So what happened was, as Messenger Muhammad, after he moved from the South, which I'm sure was a culture shock in itself, he moved up here in Michigan, where I'm at right now. And navigating in this atmosphere up here is totally different from down south. I know, because I've lived in both places. As a matter of fact, I've lived all over the United States. I've lived on the East Coast, I've lived on the West Coast, I've lived up north here where I'm at now, and I've lived down south. So and it's totally different. Whether you know this or not, it's totally different in these different regions in America living. The terrain is different, the climate is different, and people and the way they navigate are different. So Messenger Muhammad moving to Detroit, I'm sure it was a culture shock in itself, but he came up here, qualified himself. He worked for the car industry at times. He did little side hustles for himself, for him and his family. Basically, it was a struggle, like it was for many of our grandfathers, for many of our great grandfathers and grandmothers and great grandmothers. It was a struggle. So being a Mason was looked upon as being an instrument of helping one to get a leg up. However, when you know better, you do better. So in 1931, 30 to 31, always believing in God. Mr. Muhammad believed in God. He was raised up in the church. His father was a minister. His mother was the first lady of the church, and they believed in God. And like most of us believed in God, all of our family members believed in God. All of our families came from the root of believing in God and wanting to do right, live right, to be blessed, to do better in life, not only for yourself, but for your family. So he became a Mason as a leg up. But by the time 1930 to 31 came around, Master Muhammad was no longer a Mason. When he met Master Farah Muhammad, he was no longer a Mason. Okay, let me make that clear. When he met Messenger Muhammad, when Messenger Muhammad met Allah, Muhammad, He was no longer a Mason. Okay. So when he first came in the temple, which when he first came in and became registered, it was because of Sister Claire Muhammad, his wife, the black woman. The black woman came home one day and say, honey, you need to come here. This man talking some real good stuff. So that's what he did. He listened to his wife. He went to the meeting. He met Master Fard Muhammad. Excuse me. I told you I was eating. That bean soup so good. He met Master Fard Muhammad, and the rest is history. However, let me tell you some of that history. He started working. He started coming to the meetings, learning, studying, like all the brothers and sisters did at that time. And then he got his name. His first name was Elijah Kareem. See, a lot of people don't know that. And he kept on diligently working. He kept on diligently coming to the meetings. He kept on studying. But most of all, we change. It's one thing about it I bear witness to. Coming in the Nation of Islam, when you register and you start your processing, which was, what is processing? Processing was you start thinking right, living right, acting right, looking right. And that might take anywhere from 6 months to a year. But all the while you're going through that processing, you're also learning. You're also coming to the meetings spiritually growing. And you're also practicing writing your letter. And that letter was an actual letter. And it was wrote to 2 actual people. And this is why today it's not necessary. I have tried to share this with brothers and sisters, that when you are playing around with this program, when you are playing around with the propagation of Islam today, and you don't know what you're doing, and you're messing with the protocol and the procedures of the Nation of Islam that were real substantial things that we did. And now today, you can't do it because nothing is here anymore. The messenger's not here. Master Fard Muhammad has left. So why do these things when you cannot do them as it should be done when it really mattered? Things have changed. Why write a letter to who? Who is going to receive the letter? We didn't just do this thing as just something to do. People actually wrote letters, excuse me, and it had to be done right and exact. And then that letter got sent to Chicago. Now, if Master Muhammad is not here, then who's receiving the letter? And if Allah is not here, who's examining the letters? See, you make stuff so insignificant because you don't know and you're not doing things in the proper manner. So now what Farrakhan and his camp and all these other brothers and sisters are trying to do out here is making the real historical Nation of Islam. And because people today don't understand how it really was, it's a lot of disrespect, a lot of lying, a lot of propaganda going on around the Nation of Islam and Messenger Muhammad that's simply not true at all. So, anyway, getting back to Messenger Muhammad. So, again, at the ripe ages of 29, 30, 31, 32, this is when his life changed. He met Master Fard Muhammad. He met God. Just like Moses met God, just like Abraham met God, just like Noah met God, just like Jesus walked with God. What? So you mean to tell me God can't still walk with men of his choice or of their choice? Because we were taught Allah means all in all. So Allah is just not no one entity, although we give credit, high praise, and honor to Master Farad Muhammad for being the emperor, for being the king, for being the greatest amongst us. Why? Because he put his life on the line to come to America to make sure we understood who we were here in America and our connection to divinity and our connection to all our other tribes and brothers and sisters all around and across the planet. And none of us can say we even thought about anything like that. None of us can ever think that we even thought Black people even lived anywhere else on the planet besides America. Because at that time, in our sojourn, was that really relevant to us? Oh, yeah, we knew about so-called Africa, right? We knew about Africa. Why? Because they were showing us Tarzan and the Black jungle bunnies on the TV. They were showing us that people in Africa, they was like animals and they ate all kind of weird stuff and they walked around naked, half naked, really. Most of them half naked. I'll say half naked because at least they had something over their groins and behind. And the women, some of the tribes they show where the women did have some kind of something over their breasts. But other than that, we were to believe that these people were walking around in the jungles of Africa naked and swinging through trees. That's what they shared to us on the television. That's what they told us. And so we didn't feel any connection to them. I know I never felt any connection to the Black people on TV that they showed on Tarzan movies, that they showed that was scared of Tarzan. Tarzan was still ruling the jungle, although you got millions and billions of Black people all over Africa, but this one man was ruling Africa because he was swinging through trees too and controlling everything, and plus he had the power over the animals. So he was like God to these people. That's what we seen on TV. So we didn't, I know I never grew up. My family members, when we would watch TV and have discussions about life and our sojourn in America, being an African never came up, nor being any kin to those people in Africa ever came up. It just was not in the dialogue. It was just not something we thought about. It was not something we talked about. So, Mr. Muhammad never really talked about it either. When he did talk about the African brothers and sisters, he talked about our connection to them, which ones and how. And surely we as Black people are all connected as kinfolk on the planet. But just like in your individual families, you have direct kin and then you have kinfolk. And so some of us are direct kin and some of us are just kinfolk. And by now, all of us should either know that or know who or understand how. But we don't. And that's why all this confusion on YouTube. Listen, it's so much confusion on YouTube. And I hate to see it. I'm not calling out no specific name. I talked about Judah Nazareth earlier because I do listen to his channel when they're really talking about God and when he's going through the Bible and stuff like that. And I really feel that Judah wants to do the right thing and he's really striving to be about God and serving God. And as I've shared with him when I went on his channel, this confusion is not showing godliness. And I'm going to keep on saying, I don't care what people think about why I'm saying it, but godliness is peace and humbleness and togetherness and harmony. It is not this fighting and fussing and name calling and always trying to find a reason to go at each other about every little thing. It's just not about that. So, with that said, you know, Mr. Muhammad, once he knew better, he did better. And so, after meeting Allah, and he always wanted to be a man of God, he always wanted to help his people find a way out. He always wanted his people to be in a better condition. And he knew God was the way then when he was younger. And as he grew to become a young adult man and then a married man and a family man, he always held the desire in him that he wanted to help as well as himself and his family, but his people, period. And whether that meant being a preacher or whatever, that's what Mr. Muhammad wanted to do. But it became a time he became disgruntled with the church. And in his sojourn trying to find answers to be able to be the man that he wanted to be for his wife and his family, his children, he found God, Master Fard Muhammad, and his life changed. And wherefore he was a pumper and a poor man, striving in every way he could to be the best Black man he could be for his family. Now he's seen the reaping of his sowing, because he began to do better, look better, feel better, and have better, because now he had met with God. And that's how I feel. I am so thankful and happy. Yeah, I'm not saying that things don't happen some days. I don't have as much money as I want to have, but check this. When it's like that, you know what? I pray to Allah and he blesses me. And then the increase, I get money and I don't be knowing where is it coming from? And you know what I say? All praise is due to Allah. Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Allah. Because why? What kind of God you serve if he's not taking care of you? That's what he was supposed to do. He takes care of his servants. Because in turn, we worship and praise and give honor to him. That's just the way it is. That's how it is in your individual self. When you praise yourself, when you love yourself, when you take care of yourself gives you back. When you are a mother or father, husband or wife, and you give of yourself to your family, what do you get back but praise and honor and worship? Not worship like you would worship the God Almighty Creator, but the thankfulness and the honor and the love from your family because you're doing a good job of taking care of business. So, when he gave honor to his God, Allah blessed him and took care of him. Because when you go down in prayer and you ask your God for help, that's what you expect, and that's what you should expect. But you should also see that manifest in your life. Many of you don't. And that's why y'all disgruntled. That's why you really are confused and don't know what you're doing. So, anyway. So Mr. Muhammad was Elijah Kareem for a few years. But because of his diligence and because of his love for God, his love for righteousness, his love for doing right, and wanting to see his people in a better condition, he was blessed to become the vicegerent on earth. He was blessed to become God's mouthpiece again, just like Abraham, just like Moses, just like uh, Noah, just like Jesus, just like Muhammad of 1400 years ago. It's sad to think that we would really feel that low about our own persons, that we cannot accept that God, the almighty creator of the universe, could have a talk and a walk with a black man who would do just like these other men that he talked to over the years in the past. And that was go amongst the people and say, thus said the Lord. So a black man from Georgia can't do that. One of our own can't do that. One of our own can't be qualified to do that. I say yes. How dare you to think so lowly of our people, so lowly of our clan here, that God would not love us enough to send one from amongst us to teach us the way. Well, he does love us. He did do it, and we are doing it. Those who believe. Amen. Amen. So now, after a while, Allah sent the word to Mr. Muhammad. You can go ahead on and start teaching. In other words, you can go ahead on and become the messenger that you are. Become my vicegerent, my mouthpiece. Okay? That was about 1934. Excuse me. Because I want you to feel comfortable. I'm eating some carrot. But maybe I shouldn't. But I don't want to be looked at as one that's trying to be out here and be a YouTuber and be a professional YouTuber. I'm just Sister Captain Aaliyah Muhammad, an Aboriginal, Indigenous, Indian, Black woman in America. However y'all want to say that. And love for myself and for my family, my kind. And I just want to be like God and be like his messenger. And what I mean by that is I want to be able to be worthy to excel, to be worthy to be called the God of the universe, the mother of civilization, a goddess amongst my sisterhood, a goddess amongst my sisters. So, YouTuber, I'm not trying to be. I'm using this as my telephone to call you up. And when you dial in my number and push the button and come on and talk to and listen to something your sister might have to say, I want you to have something to move on, have something to be able to hold on to and grow and help you on your journey. Okay? That's what this is about. So, by 1935, Master Muhammad left. Matter of fact, he left in November of 1935. Now, let me repeat that. Messenger Muhammad met with Master Muhammad. He was Elijah Kareem first, and then because of his studiousness, and his studying and learning and his love for righteousness and good, he was excelled to the messenger. He was exalted to the messenger. And before Master Muhammad left, he gave him that title and put him as his vicegerent on earth to teach the truth that he had taught him to teach us. And then he left, November 1935. So people going around saying Master Muhammad and the messenger were in jail together and all that kind of stuff, I have a clue of what they're talking about. They did not meet in jail. They never was in jail together to my knowledge and to nobody else's knowledge that I know of. Okay? They met at a temple in Detroit and became master and student until Messenger Muhammad was master himself to go on without the master. And then the master left for a time. Now you might say left. What does she mean by that? I hear a lot of people saying, well, what happened to Master Fard Muhammad? Well, he was caught up. He left. He got aboard his craft and he left off the planet. I know y'all can't handle that. But you know what? Why wouldn't you? All of our ancestors, and I'm talking about your mother and fathers, mother and father, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, the ancestors, the part of the people of our bloodlines that came before us. All our people believed in power. They believe they can move mountains. They believe they could do anything possible. So I don't know where all of a sudden this inability to believe in something greater than what you see on this planet, which all this is illusions, is coming from. See, if you really knew that without you, most of the things that we see wouldn't even been possible. But they looked at us, they copied us, they looked to us for everything. So if they started making movies or talking about spacecraft and aliens, it's because they got it from us. They saw something, they heard something. But the only thing about it, they knew how this journey was going to be. And they knew they would have a chance to totally obliterate it by changing it. See, they can't stop it, but they can change. They can put in stumbling blocks. So they took it and made cartoons out of the reality of the fact that we've been flying in the cosmos forever. That we have been that great of a people that we had no boundaries because we could do all things. With intellect, we are the intelligent beings on our planet. And so therefore, a spacecraft is nothing new. So when I share with you that in November in 1935, the military, NASA, the white man, our enemy, whatever you want to call it, the other people in their instruments of glory reported on their news and in their newspapers that there was seen something weird, something majestic when they said in 1935 in November that they saw, their accounts were that it was reported that a spacecraft and a beam that was shooting down from it and an object was going up in the beam was seen by many other people, and then it disappeared. So now you do the math. Messenger Muhammad told us that Master Fard Muhammad left. He said goodbye to us for a time. And he told him that he was leaving and he was going to Ohio. And it was in Ohio, where I'm from, that Master Fard Muhammad's ship came and got him and beamed him back up, and he left. Now, a lot of people are calling him all kind of names. They saying he dead. They saying a lot of things about Master Fard Muhammad. But trust, you are all going to regret it. My first appearance on YouTube back in 2021, I think I was on a brother's channel. His name was Suave. They called him Suave. I don't know what has happened to Suave, but he's not doing any channels anymore, any reporting or any shows anymore. Not that I know of. And I didn't know Suave, and I went on there with Sister Noble. And it was some hoopla going on. Something about something that happened on another channel, and everybody, all the content creators were upset about it. There was a lot of hoopla going on about pedophilia and a lot of stuff. And then the talk was that, channels need to be taken down. Channels are going to fall and whatnot. And they are. And they are falling now. And I did not intentionally mean to say what I'm getting ready to repeat, but just listening to the dialogue of all the people that was on the show that day and seeing the sentiment. And I really believe at that time everybody was a little appalled about what was going on at that time and wanted to see change. And I came out here believing that all of us wanted the same thing, that we really wanted to see our people win, and we need to do what's necessary to win. Of course, I don't feel that way anymore, because that was a figment of my imagination. But I do believe there are still some people that want to see the best for themselves and the best for our people. And so, anyway, listening to the dialogue at that time, it led me to say, well, not only is this person getting ready to hit rock bottom, excuse me, and not only is this channel getting ready to hit the dirt, it's going to be a lot of channels and a lot of people hitting the dirt because of their disrespect toward Master Farad Muhammad and his messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I said that, and I meant it. And I've said it again, and I will continue to say it because it is the truth. And I thank Allah that I'm striving so hard on the righteous path that I have probably appeared to be weak or whatever, but it's okay. Because if weak means doing right, then fine with me. Because I never wanted to come on YouTube and be arguing and fighting with my people. That's exactly what the devil wants to see. Long as they can measure that temperature, they are cool. Long as they see that we are out here fighting ourselves, hey, they good. They happy. So I do not want to be a part of that. And I will fight just like anybody else, and I can cap like everybody else. And when I say capping, I mean, when we used to say capping back in the day, we meant talking about you. We meant talking about you, your mama, talking about your shoes, your clothes, whatever. We didn't mean lying. We meant talking about you. And in many ways, it was just fun and games. But that's what we used to call capping. But now it's called capping is lying. So whatever. Anyway, we cannot show goodness and godliness and righteousness acting that way toward one another. And I even go as far as saying, even if it's somebody you don't like, it's still your brother or your sister. And even if you don't like them, this is still not the right way to go. And let's be on YouTube and start dogging and totally trying to, but how you say it? But well, it's a word. It start belittlate. I can't even say it. You know what I'm saying? But it's just totally destroy one another. It just don't make sense to me. And I know somebody gonna say, "Oh, there she go with that goody two shit," and I know that's what people gonna say. It ain't no goody two shit. It's not about that. It's about being civilized. It's about showing civility. It's about being good. It's about being virtuous. It's about being a humble and good person. What happened to that? I grew up seeing some of that. And I must admit, yes, as I start getting older, I start seeing more evil, more wrong. It was unbelievable to me, even in my own families. But that trust and that love of right and that love of God and goodness, hey, I never let it steer me wrong. And I thank God that he kept his loving arms around me spiritually, that no matter what, I never allowed myself to succumb to unrighteousness, low downness, backstabbingness, and being a person who just would do anything to anyone. No, I don't. And if you're my enemy, you're an enemy, and I will stay away from you. But if you're my friend and my family, I treat you the same way I want to treat myself, with love and tender care. Try always to be humble and patient. But now, if you push me, I can't check you, and I will check you. But still, there's love, even in the checking. But a enemy of mine, I just will stay away from them. I will stay away from, because you know what? I don't want to be a person that really hurts another person. Now, I'm sure I have hurt people. And main reason why I've hurt people is because I have chosen not to be involved with a lot of people over my life's journey. And they didn't like it. And they had some feedback. And there was some pushback. And it was dealt with. I can think a lie never got too bad. It has been an occasion that I went through a very hard trial because of me rejecting someone. But you know how God works. With all that was done to me, now it's being done unto him. So you know what? I don't even think about the stuff no more. And when I do, I laugh at Black Sambo, because you know what? I don't care. He knows I didn't do nothing with him. I tried to care for him. I tried to show him another path. I tried to even show him what a relationship and being in love and being loved and give love can be. But it was all built upon lies with him. And so it came tumbling down. And then I'm just that type of woman. I know how to walk away. You know, my daddy he taught me how to hold it, how to fold it, how to run, and how to walk away. And so when I see what I have to do, that's what I do. And that's what I did. That's what I did. I just threw up my hands, threw in the towel, and walked away. But because of his ignorance and his evilness, now he is suffering the consequence. So you know, all I got to do is say, alhamdulillah. Because he getting back just what he tried to give to me and my family. He getting back just what he tried to do to my daughter. So, hey, we're good. I got 2 new grandbabies, Amina and Amir. They so pretty. One day I'll probably show a picture of them, but I don't know. But, you know, but I probably will. Because I'm so proud of my grandbabies. They so pretty. They so cute. And so we're moving on, and our family's growing, and my family is growing. You know, Allah has blessed me that I have increased. I increase upon my life. When his is over, he's dying and don't have nothing to show, no product to show that he even was living here. And soon will one day be gone. But anyway, we ain't gonna dwell on that. I'm just saying, I'm trying to give you an example. If you stand for right, if you just keep standing for right, if you don't let negativity and hatred of a person who has hatred for you, if you don't let that change you, if you are a good person, a person of God, a person who is striving, a person who wants to see a better day, if you don't let it change you and you trust in God a lot, then he will bless you. Take this and go warm it up for me. Okay? Tell him to warm up for me. I'm trying to eat it. Okay? In a few minutes. Bring it to me about 5 minutes. So, anyway, Mr. Muhammad told us Mr. Muhammad was leaving us, so he left. As I reported, in November 1935, it was reported in the papers and the news in America that many people in Ohio saw something that they could not explain. So now you do the math. I'm going to say it flat out. It was Allah leaving. It was a Master Farah Muhammad leaving the planet again. Okay? So, you can take it or leave it alone. But I'm going to warn you, I'm going to tell you this right now. Y'all don't want to believe your own. And you believe everything that they say, just like Bob Marley said. That's why I got at the bottom of, Ticket Tone. Like he's saying, they say what we know is what they tell us and teach us. And we're so ignorant at every time they can reach us. And that's the truth. Okay? Now, I'm telling you that space travel is nothing new to us. Okay? And that if it was not for us knowing this and living it, then they would never have had the idea in their minds to even talk about it, write about it, make movies about it, and even make cartoons like the Jetsons about it. Okay? They got it from us. And it's real. And it's true. So you can laugh at it. You can throw it out the window like you do everything else that's good for us. And not believe it. But soon you will see. So after that, 1935, Mr. Muhammad was on his own and he was doing his mission, teaching the truth that he knew. See, y'all want to think Mr. Muhammad was teaching out the Bible, Quran, and all this other crazy stuff. No, he wasn't. He was teaching straight from the mouth of Master Fard Muhammad, because everything he knew, Master Fard Muhammad taught it to him, showed it to him. They went to the library together and did things and read things. Master Fard Muhammad had to show the messenger a lot of things. He had to show him what was good, what was not. He had to show him how to eat the meat and throw out the bone, because everything that we had been taught and told at that time in the early 30s was a lie. And everything that we have learned from that time until now has been lies, propaganda. Anything to keep us from knowing that we are the true aboriginals of this planet. And we are indigenous to this country, as well as we are indigenous to any other land wherever we are. And we are the tribes and the clans. And the clan here is Judah. If you want to be any clan at all, we are and I'm not talking about if you live in New York, you from one tribe. And I hear people talking about they from Gad. And look, no. The other tribes of our people did not come over here. I know that's going to blow y'all mind. I know it's going to go, what? But no, the other tribes of our people did not come over here. It was the tribe of the gods. It was the tribe of Jehudah. It was the tribe of the gods and goddesses of Yehudah. It wasn't the tribe of Gad. It wasn't the tribe of the Levites. All of them people still doing what they supposed to be doing wherever they're at. But of our tribe, we had to be the ones that, 15th chapter of the Holy Book. Abraham, know of a surety, your seed shall be in a land that's not theirs, right? Go read it for yourself. Chapter 15 in the Holy Bible, Genesis 15. So anyway, that's another thing y'all confused about. You really don't know who we are. I mean, and I'm talking about completely. Some of us know who we are, but a lot of us don't know the whole pieces of the puzzle. They don't have the whole puzzle together. So how can we be all 13 tribes? Okay. How can we be all 13? And really, we're not even the tribes of Jehu. We're not even the tribes of Israel anyway. We are the tribes of Ishmael. We are those people that was ravished, robbed, and raped by that people that's of the God of the Bible. It's two gods speaking in that Bible. It's the God who talked to your God, right? And I'm talking about your God is, and they know who I'm talking about, is Yakub. So in the Bible, you got two gods talking. You got the God, which is the almighty creator, who was the we made man in our image. And then you got the God that came to deal with the devastation on the planet and bring all the death and destruction on the planet, which is the devil, but it's still Yakub, who was a black man, and who was a black man, and he had a black nation, and the black nation changed. It was a selection, mutation, and grafting process that went on. But Yakub is truly the father of the devil, and Yakub is the head devil, and his name was changed to Israel because Israel means rebellious ones. And they went on, and their God gave them the, what would you say, the go ahead to do all the raping, robbing, and ravaging that they wanted to do, running people out of their own out of their own states and out of their own cities and villages, because time had to take its course. And when Yakub wrestled with the angel, it's in the Bible, read it for yourself, try to read with some understanding. When Yakub was wrestling with the angel, wouldn't let him go, that represented the darkness that came over the people. The darkness. He wrestled, and he would not let go of the angel until the angel blessed him. So the blessing that was given to Yakub, how dare him even wrestle with God? The angel is God. God is angel. All of it's same. The thing, how dare Yakub to wrestle with the angel? But he wrestled with the angel, knowing that the angel had to give him his blessing. And so the blessing was that they would get a certain time, that him and his objective would come to pass, and they would rule for a time. But after that time, the Mahdi would come and put everything back to balance. So that's what we've been living in for the last 6,000, going on 7,000 years. Matter of fact, we're in the 7,000 years. We're in the morning of the 7,000 year, and Satan has to rest. They have to rest. And they're not doing it rightfully. And that's why so much destruction is going on, because they still disobeying the orders. Now, we'll get into that another time deeper. But we are the children of Ishmael, the children of Abraham, the children that came from Ishmael through that black man Abraham marrying that black woman Hagar, and having children by her, and generations by her, because Sarah was not one of us. She was like Moses, really like a half-breed, almost white. And so her children were not none of us. So what are we doing? For who? Okay. Just take some with you. Take some diapers up there with you. So Ishmael's seed was blessed. I mean, you need to read with understanding. It was a lot of these stories that had the dual events happening within them. And that's where the confusion has come. But the main confusion has came because we as a people in America have turned away from the straight path. And in turning away from the straight path has caused us all to be going down the rabbit hole to destruction and into deeper darkness. So, because you threw away your culture. Bye. I heard, bring me a little hot sauce. I heard this fool talking on another channel. He said that the Nation of Islam was a cult. It wasn't a culture. Well, today it might look like a cult, that's for sure. But when Messenger Muhammad was amongst us and teaching us And we were building, really building. No one just talking about running our mouth building. You know how people talking about, let's build. We weren't talking, when we used to say build, we were talking about actual building. You know, taking mortar, clay, wood, bricks, pipes, steel, iron, making buildings. So, as we were building, really building, other people out here just running their mouth. So while we were building, we were also raising a culture, a new culture, a culture that belonged to us, for us, by us, rather than to have to keep on trying to be like other people. So, you know, we want to be Jamaicans, we want to be Africans, dress like them, look like them, wear hair like them, you know, try to even talk like them. I remember back in the 80s when I was young. And the brothers and sisters, because of Bob Marley becoming so well known in excuse me, I gotta kill some noise. Ma'am, can you please go? You want to get in the corner for timeout? I mean, I got a real life here, so I hope that didn't bother you guys. But anyway, because of Bob Marley, you know, a lot of you Negroes, right? Not you, but them back in the day, they start trying to talk like they talk like Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Jimmy Cliff. They really did. See, that's why Mr. Muhammad didn't want us as a people to be worshiping with other people and the way they worship, because he knew that we being so young on this path that we would be truly influenced, truly infatuated with other people and the way they live, because they've had a culture and we have not. So we were developing, living a culture in real time. Eating bean soup and fish, cream of wheat bread, salad, eating bean pie, and doing and that is specifically wearing the clothes that we wore, when we wore them, how we wore them. The men and women was developing a culture for us, by us. And it worked from 1930 until 1976. It was beautiful. We loved it. We were proud. And our culture was growing. We didn't eat pork. We didn't do a lot of things that the world was doing because we wanted to be set above and apart. Just like today, we need to be separated. And y'all don't see it. Y'all don't see it. But we were separate then. Even from our own people who were still going to church and acting foolish in the street. We were separate from them, not to look down on nobody, but because we who registered in the nation were supposed to be the ones who signed their name on the dotted line, to be the first ones that was willing to stand on the front line to see change for our people. And that's what that was. That included my father, mother, and them, and all the other brothers and sisters that I know that grew up in the nation, their fathers and mothers and grandparents, as well as Mr. Muhammad and his family. Mr. Muhammad started teaching, propagating Islam in Detroit. And because of their hatred for our people, and because of their hatred for Islam, Mr. Muhammad had to leave Detroit. He left Detroit and went to Chicago. He left Detroit because of all the lies and the propaganda and the setups from the FBI and the CIA and all of them trying to destroy us again from within. But before he left, I'll tell you one good thing he did. He was married. The good thing he did was being married to a woman like Sister Clara Muhammad, who loved her children so much she could not stand to see her children being influenced by anybody else but besides their own. And so she fought with the Board of Education that her children, even in the 30s, was not going to be going to no public schools. Amen. All praises to Allah for the Sister Clara Muhammad, the messenger's only wife. Yes, because they came after her for truancy. And when she told them, well, look, my children will not be attending your public schools because we teach them here in the nation, and we teach them fundamentally what we feel is best for them to know. She got pushed back, and they tried to arrest her, and it became a big deal, going back and forth to courts with with the enemy. But in the end, Sister Clara Muhammad and the Nation of Islam won the right to homeschool their children. And right now in 2023 in Michigan, you can homeschool your children. All you have to do is homeschool your children. Amen. Amen. So I thank Allah for that. I homeschool all my children. Now all my children are out of school. I don't have to worry about it no more. My grandchildren are out of school. Homeschool. Now they taking engineering college classes. So, praise be to Allah. Now, we're going to talk all the way up to, and I'm going to talk to you about what had happened in America, in the nation, up until they arrested Mr. Muhammad in 1942 and put him in jail. And why? So anyway, now Master Muhammad's gone. He gone, physically, but he ain't gone from being able to communicate. Master talked about how all the time talked about how he talked to the, Allah, how Allah was giving him guidance still. And even how he seen him. I guess y'all missed that too, right? Look, while you still can, my humble suggestion to you is that listen to Mr. Muhammad's own videos, his videos, not Farrakhan, not Malcolm, not nobody else, his videos, and get that good news and get that divine teaching he was dropping. Okay? See, can't nobody accuse Mr. Muhammad of being taught by the public school system. Can't nobody accuse Mr. Muhammad of being taught by the white man. Can't nobody accuse Mr. Muhammad of getting knowledge out of books and learning about this and learning about it, because he didn't. When Mr. Muhammad was going to the library, it was only to get the historical events of what they did to us here, even before he was born. So he can give us the tools on how to reverse that situation and do better and be better. To know who we are, to know who our God is, and to know what time it is and what must be done in that time. That's what he was here for. Messenger Muhammad was not no black nationalist where he got up there talking nationalism. He was not sitting up on the desk talking about the government of America and what we should do and what they should do. No, ma'am. No, sir. Messenger Muhammad's mission was to teach us about God, ourselves, and what time it is and what must be done. He was never in no competition with no politician or no other so-called black leader nowhere else on the planet. Never. So all of these lies that y'all have believed and all these lies and propaganda that has been put out about the messenger through the COINTELPRO, y'all have fell for it lock, stock, and barrel. And most of you, as I have said, and I tell you to your face, don't know what you're talking about. And I don't care who you think you know that was in the nation. Sorry to tell you, but you probably knew one of the worst hypocrites ever in the nation. And that's all you got was some hypocritical knowledge. Because, see, let me tell you something. Mostly everybody on this planet is against the true and living aboriginals in North America. For some reason, by God's permission, we are the target for everybody on the planet. Messenger Muhammad told us that we are against everyone because everyone is against us. And it don't matter where they from and what hue of color they got. Messenger Muhammad taught us we are fighting on all sides. Our enemies, some of our own skin folk, and our families, and truly, even your own self fighting you. Okay? Mr. Muhammad said that. He taught us that we are fighting on all sides. We don't have no ally. The black woman and the black man in America is the target from all. And you know why? Because we have the propensity to be able to have something that nobody else can get. We have the probability of gaining something that nobody else can gain but us. Like the Bible says, it will be the 144,000 and then the rest will come afterward. Right? That's what they say. That's what the Bible says. That's what the Quran says. That's what the Torah talks about. It talks about those special people of God, right? And it's true. The only thing about it, y'all don't even understand who them special people of God are. And it's certainly not the Hasidic Jews. It's certainly not. And it's certainly not the Arabian so-called Muslims, Saudi Arabian Muslims. It's certainly not. Okay. So, anyway. We're going to be showing some video. We're going to be showing some things. I just got started. Just laying my foundation. We go. Really? I don't even see why we can't believe one another. And most of y'all sit around and y'all believe what these brothers and sisters on these YouTube channels are saying about Allah, the Messenger, and the Nation of Islam. But then when somebody like me, who really was there, you think you can tell me? How you feel you can tell me about my life? You can't tell me no more about this than you can tell Farrakhan. Or you can tell Malcolm, or you could have told Silas, or you could tell Jeremiah, or you could tell John Muhammad. Y'all can't tell me about this. And yes, Messenger Muhammad was the first one to say he was honeycombed with hypocrites. Now, what does that mean? Just what does that mean? Sound like it mean to me that he knew he was around a bunch of people that was trying to stab him in his back, take his place, and was jealous. I don't know, but what you think? Amen. Huh. But still, he never let that stop him. And still, he never let him stop him loving people. And still, he never let it hinder his work, because he knew he was protected by God and the gods. Just like I do too. Don't think I don't. Listen, I know Allah and the gods are with me. I know this. And it's not, and it don't make me bolder. It don't make me fearless or anything. It just make me be me. Aware. And being willing to stand on my square and speak the truth. But more than that, try to live the truth. That's why I don't like to be on internet arguing with no sister, especially. I don't want to argue with nobody. I'm not going to argue with no brother unless he push me. I will always try to be cordial with my brothers and with my sisters, especially tenderly. But I won't take no disrespect either. And if you push me in a corner, then I'm going to come out like the lioness that I am. So, but I truly believe. I don't just believe it. I believe it because I know it, and I believe it. I hold on to it. I trust in it, that if Allah was ready today, a lot of people that think they would make it wouldn't make it. Because if you don't think your mannerism, your behavior on or off the YouTube matters not to God, then you're wrong, because it matters. Like I said on Judah's channel, I don't know what kind of weak God y'all serve that you think you can do anything in his presence and then it's okay. No, not me. I strive not to do anything wrong, but if I do things that I think is unseemly, honey, I'm praying for forgiveness, because I don't want to be caught with my dress up and my panties down with God. I want to be on point, dressed down, dressed right, covering down, be one of them bridesmaids with her oil lamp lit. That's what I pray for. Not to be lost at all. So, Mr. Muhammad moved to Chicago. He started his ministry over there. We still had Temple number 1 in Detroit. Now we got Temple number 2 in Chicago. All of a sudden, I say around 1939, master teacher, he also running, got to keep his back shielded by Allah, because now people want to kill him because he became the vicegerent on earth, and he got his own brothers that's jealous of him. And they trying to hurt him, trying to get him out the top spot because they want it, just like Malcolm did, and we will talk about that. So, World War start getting ready to heat up. 1939, World War start, World War I start. But United States don't enter into the war until 1942. Full-fledged. They fighting, they ready, because on December the 7th, 1941, our brothers and sisters, the Japanese, bombed Pearl Harbor. So, it was on the popping, but check this. But they didn't start getting troops sent overseas until 1942. Now, their brotherhood don't go to no service. Don't go there fighting in no war. What are you fighting for? Are you getting anything out of it? What are you putting on your life on the line for these Americans when you're not getting anything out of it, original man? That's what Miss Muhammad told him. So they put him in jail to keep him from talking. Yeah, I know they did. That's why he went. He didn't go to jail because he was crooked. He didn't go to jail because he stole nothing. He didn't go to jail because he robbed nobody. He didn't go to jail because he was bad to his wife. He didn't go to jail because he beat his wife and children. He didn't go to jail because he stole nothing. He went to jail because the government of America wanted to keep him from teaching this truth. And he stayed in there from 1942 to 1945 when the war was over. Why? Because they needed them black bodies. Got making black people think that they're American citizens, making black people think that they never offered us citizenship. And rightfully so. We shouldn't have never had to get no citizenship because after all, this is our country. But, you know, just saying, it's our country. So I don't want no citizenship. Citizenship for what? I want to be the owner, the maker, the cream of the planet Earth, goddess of the universe. That's who I am. If I own the planet, what I want to rent it for? Oh, well. Anyway. So that's how Miss Muhammad got in jail the first time. That's how Miss Muhammad got in jail. Put it like this: one of the times that it has been noted he has been in jail. Now, who has the best history of the Nation of Islam? We do. Because Miss Muhammad wasn't teaching from their books, and he wasn't teaching from their trend of thoughts, and he wasn't teaching their what would you say? Their society. He wasn't teaching for us to be like them or nothing. He never, they want to talk about the message of being illiterate. He didn't even go to school. He didn't graduate. No, and good that he didn't. Because none of you can accuse him of being bought and paid for or trained and taught by the enemy. He never had no dealings with him like that. And then you want to talk about Master Muhammad being a white man and all this stuff. He a half-breed. Just like a lot of half-breeds, especially come off that East Coast that y'all love. Like that guy that played on Kid and Play. Like all them, like Cardi B and all the rest of them people. Y'all love half-breeds. But then you hate Master Muhammad. Why? Why hate Master Muhammad? What? For what? Why? I know why, but why? Why do you hate Master Muhammad? Why? Because of the message he brought. All these other, all the other people, they want to feel like we are all one. Yeah, we are. We blood, we family, we black together. That's true. But we have to accept the fact that there are different tribes, and the different tribes have different characteristics, and they have different purposes. They have different skills, and we here in America are our own tribe, and we have different skills and different characteristics than our tribes in the Pacific Islands, Western Islands, which is Atlantic Islands, and that's in Africa, and that's in Europe. We Asiatic people we just got a different flavor. So, being that we got a different flavor, we're different, but we're all the same. I don't know if that makes sense. We're a holy Ummah, which is a brotherhood, sisterhood, but we are different tribes and clans. Still having some similarities, but still a difference too. So it's funny to me that when we was getting beat up over here, right? Nobody comes to our rescue. Not the islanders, not the Africans. Okay. But Once we getting close to our reward and our blessings and our separation, and then the sifting of the wrong and the evildoers amongst us to be baby, so we can be blessed and get the reward from the Lord that we have been deserving, right? And everybody want to be one with us. But when we was going through hell, nobody was trying to be one with us. And that, we're going to talk about that some more too. Messih Muhammad warned us of that too. So here we are now. Messih Muhammad is out of jail because it's 1942. They tried to stop him, but he was in jail teaching. And mostly all them brothers, when they got out of jail, and see, that's who was in jail with the message, some of his sons and some of the brotherhood that was in the nation. They got out of jail. He had more power when he got out of jail than when he went in, really. Because now he was in there talking to some show enough brothers who was ready to go to work. And so when he got out and they got out, just like when Malcolm got out, they reported in to Chicago. When Messih got out, he reported back to Chicago and got right back to work. Now, let me tell you something great about that. All while he was gone, guess who? Guess who took care of the nation? Guess who took care of the nation? Sister Claire, his wife. Sister Claire Muhammad. She kept everything going. Made sure everything was being done as it should, as a good wife should. That black woman knew she was doing. She carried the show. She carried the all nation on everything that needed to be done, working with the people, trying to keep the people encouraged. Because, I mean, this in the 30s and 40s, we was going through hell. The 30s and 40s is when they really came on us, divided us, marched us off to reservations. And the ones that didn't want to go to the reservation, they became part of the general public. And that's when they was classified as Negroes. You don't want to believe that? That's your problem. You don't believe that we the aboriginals of America, then that's your problem. I'm telling you what the government says about us. They said the ones that did not want to go on the reservations became part of the general populace and got reclassified as Negro and colored people. That's what they said. So now we going through all this. They pushing their Christianity on our people. You know, a lot of denominations in Christianity didn't get started to the late 1800s. Some churches, if you go back and do their Founders Day, you will see where their churches just got started in the late 1800s or the beginning of the turn of the century. Where was God before that? That's all I got to say. So, now, for those who might hear me and hear me later, 1942, we're going from 1930 to 1942. That's 12 years. Messih Muhammad's mission was to teach us what God had told him. Just like Moses went before his people teaching what thus said the Lord. Abraham went before his people teaching what thus said the Lord. Noah went before his people while him and his family was building the ark. He was telling to tell the people what thus said the Lord. Messenger Muhammad. Oh, let me forget Jesus and Muhammad. Same thing. That's Messenger Muhammad. And it's really sad to me that you think so lowly of us. And this devil got your mind so little and low vibrations that you cannot believe in nothing great. I hate to say this word magic because it's been misused and misrepresented, but you can't believe in power of mystical and magical and elusive things that can happen around us and to us and with us. And you can't believe that we are worried, that we are worthy, that God would come to one amongst us as well. You don't even feel like you're worthy of God saving you. Well, I do. And I thank God that's exactly what's going on. And that's what all this confusion is about, because the devil don't want to say. They want to take every one of us with them into obliviousness, darkness forever. And the only way they know they can achieve that is by teaching us to be just like them. And that's exactly what's happening. We want to be everything they do, wear what they wear, look like they look, everything, instead of being our own original natural selves. So now Mr. Muhammad is out of jail. He's been in there since 1942, when World War started and the United States entered into the war, because the war had already been going on. But until the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, America had nothing to do with it. Now they got something to do with it. And now they need you. And now they want to consequently lock up your messenger, my messenger, our messenger, Elijah Muhammad, to keep him from telling our brothers back in the day, in the 30s, 40s, don't go to the service. Don't put your black body on the line for these white folk who don't care nothing about you, never have and never will. I'm getting ready to go in a minute. I'm going to leave it with this, and we'll talk about it more. Mr. Muhammad also said two things. The black woman is the target, and black brothers, don't go out here messing with that Caucasian white girl, because all she gonna do is be used against you and your people, her and her children. Now you can take that or leave it alone. I'm gonna repeat those two things to recap. We're talking about the mission of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Messenger Elijah Muhammad, which began in the early 1930s as a young man of 32. Messenger Muhammad began to start teaching and preaching what thus said the Lord told him to teach us, who is Master Farad Muhammad, God in person. When he knew Master Muhammad was strong enough to stand on his own square without him, Master Farad Muhammad left, because he had been through so much on the planet dealing with these people, trying to, denigrate him, even tried to kill him, but couldn't. That he decided it was time for him to leave. And so he left the scepter in Master Muhammad's hands, the true and the life-giving teachings, and he left. It has been reported of his leaving November 3rd, 1935 from Ohio. Look it up. In November. Okay? So, after he left, Mr. Muhammad started his ministry, teaching our people the truth. Now, we're talking about after 1935, so we're talking about 36, 37, 38, 39. Now, in those years, he teaching hard. Also, World War is brewing. And so, by 1939, as he's deep in his studies, striving, trying to protect himself and his family, trying to keep people from killing them and all that kind of stuff, he goes and have to go to jail. Because now the government of America see him as a threat, and they want to take him to jail to keep him from teaching our brothers not to want to go to war. And it was working. And they felt that way. And the jails were full of black men in jail at that time who did not go to the war. Period. So, when he got out in 1942, after they released him when the war was over, Master Muhammad went back to teaching, which all he had to do was go back and step up on his dais, because Sister Clara Muhammad, his wife, and the believers that were still working with him to propagate this truth to our people, okay? Revealing the man of sin and revealing who you are and what time it is and what must be done, okay? Being successful. Brothers and sisters working together, striving together, trying to build a reality for themselves in America. Because as the Bible stated, it's calling for that nation within a nation. And we are and was and still is that nation within a nation. So, anyway, 1942, Meshach Muhammad's out. He gets back on his deen. He gets back on his Amustaqim. And we're going to talk about it more. We're going to talk about it some more when we have our next section. Now, I don't know if I want to start titling it Messenger Elijah Muhammad and his mission part 1, 2, or 3. I don't think I want to do that. I don't know. I'll see. I'll see. But at this point, we're just going to call it Messenger Muhammad and his mission, because none of you know it. And none of you know nothing about what happened in the Nation of Islam in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, 60s, and half of the 70s. You don't know. And all you've been reading is propaganda that these eugenics and these enemies of ours knew that if you read it, it would sway your judgment of character of these great people. Because by now, everybody is a victim. So when you think somebody did something to somebody else, you totally jump on the bandwagon and want to be an enemy of that victor, because you feel like you being victimized too. See, we've turned out to be a bunch of victims today. And so therefore we recognize and we bond with misery who loves company, instead of being wise and looking at this thing like this. Why would the whole world be against this little man from Georgia, who all he wanted was to teach his people about God and raise the level of their understanding so that they can have a better life? Why? Why? Why would they hate him so much? For what? See, you got to be wise today. You got to think, what is the motive behind these actions? I just told you what Mr. Muhammad's motive was. He loved his people. He wanted to make sure all of us through our struggle win. And he thought being a preacher when he was younger in the church would have been the answer. And he became disgruntled with the church and found out the church wasn't the way. And he was blessed to be scooped up by God and put on the right path. And that path was not only just for him, but for all of us too, because God gave him the life-giving teaching so he can come back and teach us. Now, you could call that spooky, religious, or whatever. We don't call it religion. This is our culture. And it's no different from believing in an emperor or a king, and then you got the prime ministers, and you got the elders around the court and all that. It is no different. But yet y'all want to try to say it's like church. Well, it's not. And so we're going to get into more. I just, 2 hours is enough. I really didn't want to go that far. But I pray in the name of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to Allah Masfar Muhammad for guidance and continued knowledge and wisdom and understanding, because we're going to hit every point of the lies that y'all been out here telling yourselves, that y'all been telling each other, building up all this hatred against someone and an entity that y'all don't even know anything about. Because like I have said before, if you were born about or around 1975 or after, you don't know nothing about the real lost foundation of Islam in the wilderness of North America, or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So, Masfra Muhammad is God in person. He is the God in person. God is not a spook, never have been and never will be. And we as his people have real substantial rewards coming. How we going to rebuild the kingdom of God if it's not with hands and with mortar? I ain't saying we're going to use the mortar they use, but it's going to be some kind of mortar. Okay? So may Allah bless you and keep you, my brothers and sisters believers, and all my brothers and sisters fam, be blessed. And may Allah bless you and keep you, and you be safe until the next time. And it will be soon. I will broadcast. And I am learning this. And I do want others to hear, but not because of me. I want them to hear the truth of how we're Indians, why we're Indians, why we are the righteous, which only means in Islam and Arabic Muslims, but why we are the righteous and how we are the righteous, and why, how, and why we are blessed and will be even blessed more in the future. But we have to get back on the right track, and that path is righteousness. If you want to read your Bible, read Leviticus, read Deuteronomy, but most of all, read and understand them 10 commandments mean something. Okay? And the Quran has much jewels in it for you if you would just but pick up the book. If you don't want to buy one, go to the library. They have a copy and read it. I know it's different. It seems weird to you because you got God talking. Most of the Quran, God is talking, not somebody talking for God and saying, well, thus said the Lord. Okay? Because it was inspired by God to say read, Leviticus, and also to write. So may Allah bless you again, keep you until next time. I'll be back with you as soon as possible. And let's be easy. And let's look to what it really takes to be a person who personifies and represents God. I'm going to play the song as we go out because I really like it. And it's called The Last Port is Last Port Before the White Man Came. Listen to it because, really what these brothers are saying is the truth.
2 times less gum harming plaque. Try Colgate Total.
It's the truth. It is the truth. Before the white man came. I know it's hard for y'all to understand that, but even, when I'll say this as I'm looking for the music, even when I was in high school, in elementary school, back in the 60s, late 60s, and, we used to be taught about that. We were taught in history books that they called us primitive people at the time. Why? Because they knew how they had hurt us, broke us down, just almost tried to destroy us, that we did not look like, act like, or seem like those godly, great people that they first saw when they came here, which they want to classify as primitive people. But the things they said about the primitive people, our people that were here, look, words cannot even express. They gave us all the accolades. They said we were the beautiful, the most cleanest, most wisest, most intelligent, most civilized, and modernized people they had ever seen. That's what their books, that's what social studies used to tell us about the so-called primitive people of North America. Not of Africa, of North America. Not of of South America, of North America, and the Americas. So we got a lot to face. We got a lot to deal with, and I'm looking forward to it. And if I see questions or whatever, I'm willing to answer. But right now, it's not about answering questions. It's about putting the information, the true and real information about Master Farah Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Nation of Islam and its members. Still. Okay. Be blessed. Some later.
It's a shame. It kills our game. It's a shame. 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 It kills our game. It's a shame. 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 Happy the days when once we roamed the land completely free. Good was the time when village heads dictated policy.
That's right.
Great was the hunting in those days. Abundant was the game. Peaceful relations we all had before the white man came.
See, that killed that shit. We was fighting each other.
It's a shame. 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 Tall was the stalks of corn we grew. Large the tobacco leaf. Healthy our bodies and our minds. Strong were our backs and teeth. Many a moonlit night was spent dancing around flames. Never a hungry moment less before the white man came. It's a shame. It killed our game. It's a shame. 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 Clear were the streams that caused this place. Fishing was at its best. Silver and gold the trinkets we wore, and the finest of clothes we were dressed. Large were the herds of longhorn steer and buffalo on the plains. Full was the peace pipe that we smoked before the white man came. It's a shame. It kills our game. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame. And then the day of the curse arrived, and they landed on these shores. What manner of being is this, we said? We have never seen them before. But even so, we extended our hand as we would unto a friend. How could we have known that syphilis and claps and plague had come with them? It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame. But if we had known what they had in mind, they all died in the face. So now we're paying for our mistakes, with only ourselves to blame, with memories of the good old years before the white man came. It's a shame. It kills our game. It's a shame. 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 If misery is your best friend, and it's gotten so you
see, that's my playlist. One day I'll let y'all listen to it, but not today. Assalamu alaikum.